Welcome to the March 15th Murfreesboro City Council meeting. Councilman Eddie Smotherman has our prayer and our pledge.
If you would pray with me. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this many blessings that we have. It's been a beautiful day, and this time of year it's been a real delight. We thank you for all the employees that we have in our city that do a fantastic job. The policemen and the firefighters, we ask that you keep your protective hands around those. We'd ask that you look over us during this meeting tonight, that we make decisions that bring a smile to your face. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council members, we have 3 different proclamations tonight. I had Vice Mayor Scales Harris and I got the opportunity to meet with some amazing ladies today, and I wanted to be able to present a proclamation to the American Association of University Women. So if I ask if you guys, ladies, wouldn't mind coming up. Whereas the future of our nation's productivity and competitiveness in the global workplace depends on success of girls as well as boys and women as well as men, and whereas the American Association of University Women opens doors for women and girls and shapes the public debate on critical social issues such as education, civil rights, and workplace equity, whereas the American Association of University Women promotes excellence in education for women through improvement of schools, community, and fields of work for the benefit of all, whereas the American Association of University Women inspires the interest of the next generation of women to be students, academics, professionals, and leaders, and whereas the American Association of University Women is one of the oldest existing organizations dedicated to promoting education and equity for women and girls, celebrates its 137th year, and whereas the AAUW Murfreesboro celebrates its 105th anniversary, working in partnership with the Middle Tennessee State University from its inception. And whereas the American Association of University Women will host a state convention on March 16th and 17th this weekend for the Tennessee State Organization. And whereas the City of Murfreesboro welcomes the keynote speaker, AAUW National CEO Kim Church, Kim is here, and conventioneers from across the state. And whereas the City of Murfreesboro supports the mission and program of the AAUW, now therefore I, Shane McFarland, Mayor of the City of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim March 15, 2018 as American Association of University Women Day. And I ask all the citizens to join with me in recognizing the value of education and equitable society and the laudable work of the American Association of University Women to that end. Dia, congratulations. Sure. Absolutely.
Would you mind? All right. That should be just a press here. Yes. And then come on.
All right. Say bridge you met, bridge please.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Good talking about you. Thank you. All right. You know, we've got both groups, of course, the AAUW, and then we also have it's National Athletic Training Month, and so we partner with MTSU so much that it's hard to say that Murfreesboro and MTSU don't go hand in hand. With that, we all got some news today that our basketball coach of 16 years has signed and left to go to Ole Miss. And so I want to publicly thank Kermit Davis, Betty, Allie, Claire for 16 years in Murfreesboro, and really not a farewell, but really more of a thank you to what he's done and what they've done in this community. So Dr. Johns is here, and Dr. Johns is a big part of that. So Dr. Johns, how long have you been at MTSU now?
It's been my 40th year coming up.
And I can say, too, Dr. Johns is about as fine of a surgeon as you'll find. He's got to work on a couple of my boys. So thank you to what MTSU's done. Y'all, if y'all want to come up, I want to be able to give you your proclamation again. Whereas National Athletic Training Month is held every March in order to spread awareness about all that athletic trainers do. Athletic trainers have a long history of providing quality health care for athletes and those engaged in physical activity based on specific tasks, knowledge, and skills acquired through their nationally regulated educational process. And whereas the National Athletic Trainers Association represents and supports 43,000 members of the athletic training profession employed in professional sports, colleges and universities, high schools, clinics, hospitals, corporate and industrial settings, military branches, and whereas the leading organizations concerned with athletic training and healthcare have joined together in common desire to raise public awareness of the importance of the athletic training profession and to emphasize the importance of quality healthcare. And whereas such effort will improve health care for athletes and those engaged in physical activity and promote athletic trainers as health professionals. Now, therefore, I, Shane McFarland, Mayor of the City of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the entire month of March as National Athletic Training Month in Murfreesboro and urge all of our citizens to learn more about the importance of athletic training. Yeah. Congratulations. Thank you, Dr. John.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
All right. I know Miss Wheeler is here for this one, aren't you? Yes. But don't we have, yeah. Come on. You want to bring your voice too? That's all right. Absolutely. All right. We're doing this a little early. We've had lots of talk about our bridge, the state project, which is nearing completion. The pavement was put down, and I had a resident call me, as a matter of fact, yesterday morning, thanking me and the council and the state for how much that we have taken off of his drive time every day from the west side of town. So that's about the 10th or 15th person who've called to say, you saved me 10 minutes a morning on the drive. So we're proud that it's getting there. And with that, if we can't laugh at ourselves, who can we laugh at? So I've got a proclamation, and I want to read this, and want to introduce Gene Vest, who started this petition. What was it? It was on change.org, is that right? Or what was it? Yeah. So whereas the State Route 1 interchange at State Route 10 began in January 10, 2014 to relieve more than 31,000 trips daily at this one intersection, and whereas after opening in late December 2017, the Murfreesboro City Council sought suggestions from its citizens for the naming of the bridge, and whereas one catchy name rose to the top with the most votes out of the 775 total submissions, and 150 unique names and list of top 20 names received, Murfreesboro resident Jeannie Vest creatively encouraged residents to turn that frown upside down by supporting a petition supporting on change.org that generated over 4,517 supporters for the name Bridgie McBridgeface. Now, therefore, I, Shane McFarland of the City of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim that Route 1 interchange at the State Route 10 be named. So we wanted to do this to get it plenty of time out there. That on April 1st, 2018, April Fool's Day, the bridge will be called Bridgie McBridgeface for that one day, and I invite all the citizens to join me as we celebrate that day.
Thank you. And thank You're welcome. It's the crowning point of my career.
It is a high point.
Yeah.
We're all smiling, right?
Yeah.
That is what we wanted.
Thank y'all very much.
Yes, thank you.
Guys, thank y'all for coming. All right. Do we have any other ceremonial items? Is there something else we can name in town?
For a day.
Okay. All right. You have 4 items on your consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be discussed or taken off the agenda?
If there isn't, I move for approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. Wright, you'll call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. You have the minutes of the March 5th, 2018 special meeting and the March 8th, 2018 special joint meeting with the Parks and Rec Commission and the City School Board.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright, will call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. You have second readings. We'll consider for passage on second and final reading ordinance 18OZ03 to zone an area along South Church Street and Volunteer Road as commercial fringe CF district simultaneous with annexation.
Move for approval.
Motion is second. Oh, so we need a second.
Second.
Motion is second.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance. Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Consider for passage on second and final reading ordinance 18OZ06 to zone an area along Memorial Boulevard as highway commercial CH district simultaneous with annexation.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright?
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. First readings, we have the letter from the City Recorder, Finance Director regarding fiscal year 2018 budget amendment, ordinance 18013.
Mayor, this has to do with a problem that's already come before council, and y'all have approved to do the work. The city called the bond on the Three River subdivision to finish up the right-of-way work and paving and different things that the developer left undone. So in order to do that and be able to get purchase orders, we need to put this budget amendment in place. The money has already been given to the city through the bond company, so we're just now setting it up as a budget item where the departments that are going to do the work can do purchase orders. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, we'll need to consider for passage on first reading ordinance 18013, amending the 2017-2018 budget, and this will be the third amendment that we've made.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright?
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We will now move to new business, and we have recommendations of the Planning Commission to schedule public hearings for a plan of services and annexation for approximately 17.96 acres located along Twin Oaks Drive, a zoning for approximately 17.96 acres along Twin Oak Drive to RS6 simultaneous with annexation, rezoning approximately 1.6 acres along Medical Center Parkway and Warren Street to MU and GDO 3, zoning amendment for approximately 130 acres in the Victory Station PUD along Fortress Boulevard and Franklin Road, annexation plan of services and annexation petition for approximately 145.2 acres along Bradyville Pike and Vills Road, zoning for approximately 134 acres along Bradyville Pike to be zoned PRD, Carter's Retreat, simultaneous with annexation, and approximately 0.1 acres to be zoned RS10, simultaneous with annexation, and a zoning amendment for approximately 48.21 acres for the Stones River Mall PSO along Old Fort Parkway and Stones River Mall Boulevard. Mr. Blomley.
Good evening, Member Farland and members of council. There are a few ways we could go on scheduling these. If you'd like to break them up, we could add items C, D, and G to the April 12th agenda. That's the date that we have the Sazerac public hearing scheduled. C, D, and G do not have an annexation component, therefore they could be scheduled faster than the other ones. And they generally did not have a whole lot of public participation for those three. A, B, E, and F We could give you the dates of April 26th or May the 3rd for those 4 items, or we could lump all 7 together in one of those 2 dates. So whatever pleases the council.
In C, D, and G, you're thinking April 22nd?
No, April 12th.
Okay.
If the council wishes to add those to the night with Sazerac. We would put those 3 in front of Sazerac on the agenda.
What else, was Sazerac the only public hearing that night?
April 12th, all we have are the annexation and the zoning for Sazerac.
And what was the other date for the other ones?
Either April 26th or May the 3rd.
I'm going to make a motion that we do C, D, and G on April 12th.
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. Wright, will call the roll.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. You're not here on the 12th, Bill?
Yeah, it's a good possibility I'll be out of town.
Okay. All right. How about A, B, E, and F on the 26th?
I'll be out of town.
Me too.
You said, did you say May 3rd?
April 26th.
April 26th or May 3rd.
Are you?
April 26th, I am out.
Okay.
For sure. Out of town.
All right, so let's, how about if we have one, do that May 3rd? For A, B, E, and F.
So moved. No, wait. Yeah, so moved. May 3rd. Yeah.
Was it 3rd or 7th? I wrote down 7th.
Third.
He said 7th.
Okay.
That's what.
Matthew.
May 3rd.
May 3rd. Did I say 7th? I don't know.
Yes. It's like a calamity of errors going on here. All right, May 3rd. Going once.
April 26th is my birthday.
That's what we're
I've got a really good birthday present for you. No meetings.
Let's move to schedule the public hearing May 3rd for items.
I got the motion already.
He's already
Oh,
made.
you've already got it? You got a second?
Nope. But I really want one. Bad. Second.
All right, we got a second. Motion and second.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
No. Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet. Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll now consider recommendations of the Assistant City Manager.
Excuse me, 1 second.
Yes.
No joke here. I think we really should all be present on that distillery thing.
Well, that one's already
Will we
scheduled.
have them?
Yeah, I don't,
That one's already scheduled and
Okay.
advertised.
it may be,
Okay.
since that's an advertised meeting,
Okay.
we can't change that, can we? Correct?
You just re-advertise it.
Have we advertised?
You can always change that date, but you just re-advertise
Have
it.
we already advertised it? Because it was set way out.
I believe we have, haven't we, Matthew?
I don't know for certain. That's less than 30 days out. I know all the neighbors are already preparing for that date.
Yeah.
That's the date that's been publicized for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Tough one to. All right, let's move. If there's any other discussion on that, y'all send individual comments to Craig or Jim, but that will probably be tough to change that one. All right, well now, thank you, Mr. Blomley. Thank you. War Eagle. Agreement with Vanderbilt University Medical Center to purchase Gateway property along Garrison Drive and future extension of Northville Boulevard.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm here to present for your consideration a sale agreement of between 11 and 14 acres of city-owned Gateway District property to Vanderbilt University Medical Center. I have a map to show you. The site is located along Garrison Drive, closest to West College Street and next to Kasai's North American headquarters. I'm going to describe the proposed project and then review some of the key elements of the proposed agreement with you. Vanderbilt proposes to construct the project in 2 phases. The first phase will be a single-story, approximately 38,000 square foot medical office facility that will be a pediatric clinic and ambulatory surgery center. They propose construction to begin within 10 to 12 months of the closing of this agreement, and the anticipated investment is about $21 million. That's hard and soft construction costs. And they believe 14 or 15 doctors will be working in the facility, and then another 40 to 50 professionals, nurse practitioners, and other medical professionals in the facility. With our growth and their anticipated demand, they believe over the next 10 years, they will need an additional 62,000 square feet that will be in another building, probably a multi-story building on the lot, and representing a total overall investment between the 2 phases of 100,000 square feet of medical office building, between 120 and 150 jobs, and over $51 million in investment. Now to some of the key elements. First and foremost, the Gateway Commission and staff are recommending this sale agreement tonight because we feel it meets City Council's intent with Gateway property, and that's attracting significant capital investment and then high-value new jobs to the community. Vanderbilt has committed that although they do have a presence and are leasing space in the Gateway District today, that all of these jobs in the first phase of the development are new jobs to the community. And then we're also, as we always are talking about our anticipated growth, and we know this is a young community. Murfreesboro's median age is about 30 years old. Many of our residents are families with young children, and so we know that this pediatric clinic meets a need in our community, and we're excited to see just the increased access, and that we know more residents will be able to stay close to home for those services. Second, there's a pretty significant and unique aspect to this agreement, and that's that with your approval, this agreement will commit the city to building a new roadway along the same timeline as the new facility opens. So I want to show you a picture of that. With the recent adoption of the Murfreesboro 2040 Major Transportation Plan, one of the short-term improvement projects identified in that plan is a connector road. The road would connect from Garrison Drive to North Thompson Lane, and it bisects this city-owned parcel. I will say Vanderbilt has been very cooperative during this negotiation and working with us. We had only a very preliminary roadway design, as this could have been a 5 to 7 year out construction project for us. But with this proposed development, we've had the opportunity and possibly the funding to move this project up in priority, and we believe to have it constructed within 12 months of Vanderbilt pulling their building permit for the first phase of construction. So, and just in case you're interested, I know this one question you may have is what will be remaining after the sale. We know Vanderbilt is interested in between 11 and 14 acres for their needs, and once we have a final right-of-way determination, we'll be able to fine-tune what that acreage is. We'll have approximately 6.5, 7.5 acres on the opposite side of Northfield Extension, and then we'll also have this remaining lot across Garrison that's about 7.5 acres as well. Okay, and then the final key point is that once we know that final acreage, we anticipate approximately a $4 million sale price with this agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Ms. Moody, the only question I would have is it would be kind of on a location question and traffic. Is there any, I mean, this is our property, it's ours, theirs to try to buy and us to sell, but we don't necessarily have a good route from the current hospital to the interstate, and with ambulances getting through emergency vehicles, funneling more of those into within a, whatever that'd be, a few hundred yards away from the hospital and the clinic. Are we comfortable that that's going to be sustainable and from an infrastructure standpoint?
I believe we are. That's something I'm sure our traffic engineers will look at as we get a final site plan to review from Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it's kind of bigger picture than site plan,
Yeah.
It's not, that's not really.
I know one of the things that attracted Vanderbilt to this site, they looked at multiple sites in the gateway. Obviously, visibility is important to them, and I think another thing they were interested in is that they'll have an entrance off of Garrison. They'll have a new entrance off of Northfield Extension when it opens, and then they may have the ability to connect into Hope Way and have a third access where cars can go out onto West College.
Yeah, I think right there around it looks like it's okay. I'm just.
But from the interstate into
everybody who's going to get hurt in our town has got to come all the way into probably one of the most busy spots in town. I guess is what I'm trying to ask is, does it make any sense? If we were starting from scratch, this has all come about very quickly, so I hadn't had time to think through this very much. I just heard about it today, literally. So I guess I'm just trying to think, does it make sense to have all of our hospital stuff in one little spot? Or does it make sense to have it spread out? Now that doesn't have necessarily us to do with selling it, but is it the right place for the second hospital, so to speak, or third hospital in Murfreesboro, right next to the other one?
The one thing I think it does make a lot of sense to have this kind of medical campus that we've created out in the gateway. But one of the things I've noticed is that as even St. Thomas Hospital is expanding, they're putting additional satellite locations in other areas of town, like south of town, so people will have more options in other places closer to home.
That's kind of why I'm asking, I guess.
Yeah, and this facility, I don't know how many emergency-related cases will be here. I know they mentioned that they'll operate 7 days a week.
So there won't be any surgery center?
It is a surgery center.
For pediatrics in this first phase, and it's unclear what's in the balance of the project.
Mm-hmm.
They did look at other sites in different parts of Murfreesboro. They originally started with the city in the gateway about 5 to 6 months ago. They went away for a period of time and studied other sites in the community, and then eventually they came back to the gateway and focused on this site.
If you think about the old hospital location, everything around it was kind of medical. They all kind of flocked together, and when you think about restaurants and stuff in Murfreesboro, it seems to be this togetherness of, common practices or businesses wanting to be close to each other. Thompson Lane and Medical Center Parkway flow wide, as well as any roads that we have in Murfreesboro, I guess. I think all of them are heavily traveled. How long would it be, do you think, before we get the new road in place? How far out would that be?
That's a great question. What we've committed to within the agreement is that we would have the road constructed and open 12 months from the date that they pull their building permit for the first phase. And then they've committed to beginning construction within 12 months of us closing.
So a couple years.
No.
About a year, because they were
I would
starting
think
construction when we start the road.
Could be as soon as 18 months, I would think.
Vanderbilt has allowed themselves ample time to do due diligence on the site. While they're in a hurry to begin their project, they are not in a hurry to commit until they have explored the site thoroughly. So I would expect them to take several months to do that. But our commitment to them was to have the road open at the time you are open for business. It's a fairly simple stretch of road. It's relatively flat. It's about 1,300 feet in length. Construction, we've already begun doing preliminary design work, as you can see on this graphic, But we believe we can complete the road in ample time. That's why we kind of pegged our start to their pulling of the permit for their vertical construction.
How certain, how will this road work out for us if we don't end up getting the bridge portion done? I mean, aside, let's forget this development for a minute, but I guess what I'm trying to ask you is if we don't ever get the funding together to get to the bridge over River, CSX, et cetera, to tie in to Northfield, how impactful is this road? Is it just going to be a road to nowhere that we just do for this particular development if that doesn't end up happening for 25 or 30 years?
I guess my first thought with that is, I know that one of our intentions when we open this road, we'll be able to abandon that unnamed road, the ramp that's there now, and I would think there'll be an improved intersection, possibly with a signal.
This should be a major improvement for traffic going to and from Murfreesboro Medical Clinic. The intersection of the Northfield extension and Thompson Lane would be signalized. So you've got a direct straight shot into MMC from that traffic signal. It should also greatly appreciate the value of the 6.5 acre tract between Kasai and Vanderbilt. Suddenly it has frontage on a 5-lane street, and it should significantly improve the value of that tract. The bridge is out into the future. It is an expensive project. It is not in our 5-year plans anywhere, but I don't think this segment will be a hindrance to anything in terms of planning for that. This segment should help the free flow of traffic from the backside of the gateway to both College Street and Thompson Lane.
It's just going from College Street to Thompson Lane.
This stretch only goes from Gateway Drive to Thompson Lane, 1,300 feet.
Garrison Drive.
I'm sorry, Garrison.
Just from here over. Yeah, look at this though. This is a big picture. I mean, what is it? Here, this is old. There's Thompson College. So it's got to be here. Property.
That's right. They're off the back side of that.
Working on it. That's the plan.
Jim, the property that's connecting to Thompson, we already own that property?
There is a small part of New Vision Baptist Church that we must acquire. I have already made contact with the Board of Business Decisions for New Vision. They don't call it a Board of Trustees, but they have a group of their members that make the business decisions for the church. I met with them about 2.5 weeks ago and showed them the plans as we knew them at that point in time. The plan for Vanderbilt is still in a state of flux. They're not quite set yet on what their site's going to be. But we did share with the church, we did indicate to them if there is a remnant left between Vanderbilt and the church proper, that we would consider selling it to them. If there is a remnant, it is going to be very narrow and potentially landlocked and would only be of value to the church. We recognize that the church doesn't meet the general criteria for Gateway, not creating jobs or property taxes. But in this case, that remnant may have value only to the church, none to anyone else.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
I move we approve the recommendation.
Second.
Motion is second. Ms. Wright, will call the roll.
Vice Mayor Scales Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Abstain.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Thank you, Ms. Moody.
Thank you.
Any beer permits?
No, sir, not tonight.
We have no board and commission appointments. Any statements to pay?
No, sir.
Jen, do we have any other business for the city council?
I know of one.
Mr. Lilly.
Good evening, Mayor McFarland, Vice Mayor Skels Harris, and members of City Council. Just want to talk with you a little bit about our telephony service. All city phones currently use plain old telephone service, or POTS lines, is what they're called, to communicate with the rest of the outside world. This service has been reliable and used for decades. Technology has brought about a new means of telephone connectivity. This connectivity is known as primary rate interchange, or PRI. This service uses internet connectivity, or what you know of as voice over IP, and routing hardware to connect our phone system to the outside world. PRI is a solution that can reduce telephone service costs significantly. Last fall, the IT department requested and received approval to solicit bids for PRI telephony service. A request for competitive seal proposals was advertised, and we received proposals from 2 vendors. With much work and planning, we have received the best and final offer from Comcast, which was identified as the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. Current telephony service charges are $25,000 to $28,000 a month citywide. With your approval and the installation of the new PRI service, our costs will be reduced to $6,507.75 per month. Long distance is also included up to 4,600 minutes. The Information Technology Department requests approval to accept Comcast's proposal to implement PRI telephony services for the city of Murfreesboro. I'm open for any comments or questions.
So you're asking us to vote to save $20,000 a month, correct?
Yes, I am.
So moved.
Motion and second.
Made the second.
Ms. Skels Harris.
Vice Mayor Skels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye.
Mayor, I misspoke. We have another business item also.
Yes, Mayor, I do have a short item for you. I believe that on the table in front of you is a copy of a letter from me reflecting other business, and the second page of that letter is an overhead photo showing a remnant piece of land out off of Florence Road. Back in 2004, when the city acquired property that is now the mulch site and public works facility and fleet maintenance facility, we also acquired that little 1.7 acre remnant. That remnant was created when Florence Road was reconstructed, and I believe that was a TDOT project. It was reconstructed to tee up the intersection with Northwest Broad and eliminate a dangerous and unworkable skew intersection. Anyway, in doing that, they created that little remnant. It has sat there since that time. Last fall, actually fall of 16, we received an inquiry about the property, and with Planning Commission and Council approval, we delegated to the Gateway Commission the task of placing an ad to solicit interest in the property. There was only one bidder, and that bidder... That's right. The second bidder was very far away from the first bidder, so there was a very substantial price difference. And the first bidder, in the amount of $101,000, asked for a delayed closing. Said he wanted to wait a while before we closed, and we agreed that would not cause us a problem, and so we have been waiting for that. He is now ready to close, and in order to facilitate that, we have created a short, simple contract that he has signed. It is also attached to, a copy of it is attached to this letter. It's a simple cash conveyance. The effect to the city is $101,000 less a few dollars of closing costs to the city coffers, and it will put this piece of property back on the tax rolls. So we recommend your approval of this contract, authorize the mayor to sign, and we'll proceed to return the parcel to private hands. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Do you think the value of the property may have changed any with the development of the Dollar General and the retail operation across the street from it now? I mean, because before it was basically just a lot.
I think it's hard to say that. I think that the value of this property is limited. Access is limited. The shape of it's limited with the necessary setbacks and an existing sewer easement that's on an edge of it. In fact, I think the value is, well, the party who has bid was involved in the Dollar General transaction, and I think the value of this reflects the fact that Dollar General was coming in.
Move we approve the proposal.
Motion? Do you have a second? We have a second?
There's not a,
Bill, if there's not a second, withdraw your motion and let me put in a motion to defer this.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to defer this action.
second.
All right, motion to defer. Ms. Wright?
Vice Mayor Scales Harris. Mr. LaLance.
Aye.
Mr. Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Smotherman.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Okay, can we, it may be good to let staff know why we're deferring it, to bring back to us.
I just would, I would like more time to think about it and look over and truly go out there and look at the property and see if I think that's a fair price for that property, because, I mean, I actually parked on this property when I was looking at the Dollar General property out there, and I've just got concerns about whether.
Yeah, I was hard to tell from the map here exactly where it was, so I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'd check it out, make sure I'm looking at it correctly.
So let's put that on for the next
Glad to.
Next council.
It was sealed bid. An interesting side note is that the sale of this parcel triggered an improvement to the zoning code. It had previously been zoned light industrial.
Heavy.
The adult industry was removed from the...
It was zoned heavy industrial, which would have made this at least a possible candidate for an adult entertainment site. And with this bidder's knowledge and acceptance, we rezoned the property to light industrial in anticipation of this transaction.
Yeah, look, these things coming up under other business, I mean, I would just kind of tell you, you might expect for more of those abstains and deferrals when we don't have any time at all to look through this and understand the stuff. It's just, I mean, that's a big part for me on both of these last two things is, you know, this is why we get our agendas early. And these are, you know, one's bigger than the other. No big deal. Week or so down the road, we'll get it knocked out. But
it will not be a problem to defer it at all.
All right. Deal, thanks.
We've deferred. Any other business to come to the council?
I know of none.
I have nothing else.
Okay. All right. Seeing none, we'll stand adjourned.